apologetics, theology, prophecy, creation and evolution, intelligent design, marriage, family, child rearing, the millennial generation, trends in society, politics, economics, business, religious liberty, the Constitution, public policy, foreign policy, military policy, tensions in the Middle East, abortion, homosexuality, pornography, sexual ethics, media, technology, history, and America's godly heritage. We talk about anything that affects your faith, your family, or your freedom. So don't go anywhere, because Point of View starts right now.
Across America, live, this is Point of View. And now, Kirby Anderson.
Thank you for joining me today, and welcome to Point of View, where this week we're going to launch what we call Truth 360. We'll explain more about that in just a minute. A little bit later this hour, we're going to have a chance to hear from Noel Bouché of Pure Hope. Next hour, we'll be hearing from Gary Bauer. All through this week, you're going to be hearing all sorts of newsmakers and opinion leaders, people like John Stonestreet and Sean McDowell and Robert Jeffress and Joseph Farah, Michael Ferris, to mention just a few. Just some great guests, but we have our first guest in studio be with me all week, a friend of the ministry, Brad Fisk. Brad, thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much. So glad to be here.
You have been here with us before, but again, I think you have been such a friend of this ministry. And I guess before we go any further, we're talking about Truth 360.
We are.
And I give you credit for coming up with that idea, because when we talk about this, we have seen this incredible loss of truth in America. And then the idea of 360, you know, we have to kind of be looking in the front and the sides and behind. Also kind of 360 of a compass, but it's going to have another meeting in just a minute. But this is the idea that we really are facing a battle for truth in America.
It is indeed. You know, and I'm on the radio around the country, and you know, truth. I call it truth with a capital T. And as I am aging, I've noticed in my Christian walk through the decades that truth is being redefined, and it's not truth anymore.
Yes,
it's lies, it's deception, and Point of View is standing in that gap saying, no, this is truth, this is not.
And I think it's very important, because when we talk about this idea of truth, we are going to be hearing a lot of truth takers and truth givers today, individuals that are really taking truth into the marketplace. They are giving out truth, and certainly those are individuals we depend upon. But as you well know, the other part of Truth 360 is the Truth Team 360.
That's right.
And that is, we are this week, as we begin to hear from some of these individuals that have been addressing these issues of truth, we really want individuals to join with us as well. And anybody that's listened to this program know that we talk about the fact that we're a listener-supported program.
That's correct.
And we are dependent upon the financial gifts of individuals. And so we're going to challenge people to become part of this truth team. There's some real benefits that we're going to talk about in just a minute. But again, we're looking for people to join alongside with us.
Really, the strategy is this entire week, we want to see a collective surge toward allowing us to not only be fully funded to continue doing what we're doing with excellence, but we want to grow. We want to see new opportunities come along, because the culture and things going on the other side of the fence seem to be growing in influence. And sometimes we, if you're like me, you feel like there's a tidal wave coming over you of lies and deceit. People trying to snatch your kids from you with telling them lies in school and all that. We stand in that gap, and you can be a part of helping us to be fully funded for the coming months and years.
One of the ideas of Truth Team 360 is, of course, 360 on a compass, and having a 360 view of the world, but also the fact that we have many times challenged people to consider what they might give. If they give $1 a day, that's $30 a month, or it's $360 a year.
Exactly.
And a lot of people that could never write a check for $360 to Point of View, if they could consider $1 a day, then that is a way in which they can participate with us. So we really are looking for this week, as we go along here, and we're going to have various match gifts, and we're going to have various challenges and things of that nature. As we begin to hear a little bit more from some of these newsmakers, also take some time to really challenge people to consider what they might be to be part of that Truth Team 360.
That's right. It's a brand new team. It's not going away. It's not just for now.
Yeah.
This is a team that you're going to join and be a part of. And there's going to be lots of fun things in the future happening with our Truth Team 360. But the important thing is to be part of the team.
Yeah.
And so, again, it's a gift of $360 or more. We're going to spot you the $5, by the way. I've been challenged on that, saying $1 a day. I said, don't worry about that. We got you covered.
Got you covered.
So we're inviting you to join. It's $30 a month. It could be a single gift of $360. And we're forming this team of people. We're kind of building a foundation, a new foundation for Point of View. And we have a couple of really fun welcome gifts. Welcome to the team.
We might even mention those right now. As people go to the website, pointofview.net, the lower right-hand corner, it says Truth Team 360.
Right.
And we really want people to join the team. But as you click on that, just you can see that we have a tote bag, we have a sport bag, and matter of fact, a little bit later, since we are live broadcasting, I might hold them up in the studio and let people look at them. But if people want to look that over, again, I know people don't give to get, but this is one of our ways to welcome you to the team. And also, as you have just pointed out, this is not going to go away. This is going to be a way we can really begin to send other materials to you and educate you. And the advantage now, because most people have an email, is that we can be sending them. And we've been doing this through our prayer campaigns and other things. So we really want to you to consider how you can join with us. And as we talk today with Noel Bouché, we're going to learn a little bit more about Pure Hope, where he is really standing in the gap in terms of sexual purity, addressing the issue of sexual trafficking and so many other things, and such an important issue. And so he will be with us. Second hour, Gary Bauer. You know what that's going to be like. I mean, I'm sure he's going to have a few things to say about the Israeli election, and even today, maybe the commentary that I have posted and some other things on what is happening in terms of this culture war. Might even have some comments about how to make wise choices about candidates, because we're going to be into that election season soon. So lots of things that we can do. But Brad, what would you recommend that people might want to do? Because we really don't want everybody to wait to the end of the week. This would be a good time to get a few people right now. We have people that are standing by the phones, and I can give that phone number in just a minute, so get something to write with, or you can go to the website, pointofview.net. Either way is a way that you can be one of our Truth Team 360.
We're looking for some leaders right now, some financial giving leaders. If you're in leadership there and would like to step out, we have our HTVs, highly trained volunteers, I call them, standing by at the pledge line, which is 800-347-5151. Easy to remember. It's a toll-free number, 800-347-5151. 5151. You can call that number. We'll get you on the Truth Team, or you can give a gift for any amount. I mean, it could be a single gift. It could be a monthly amount. There's other amounts we can talk about later, but the part of it is full participation. If everybody who listens to this program would just step up and take a piece of that foundational we're trying to build here for the ministry, that would be such an encouragement to us. 800-347-5151.
As you know, we're dependent upon you as our listeners for the entirety of our yearly operating budget, and we're really dependent upon you to help us out. And so if you appreciate everything that we do, and sometimes we're looking at issues in the news, especially in our Friday weekend edition with Penna Dexter, Kelly Shackelford, or others we bring in, or some of the book interviews that we've done, some of the Bible study, all the kinds of things that are part of Point of View, I certainly want to hear from you. And Brad, one of the things I've noticed is there are a lot of people that I've run into over the years as I go out and meet people at different radio stations that have listened for years but have never given not even one penny to the ministry. Right. And so we're hoping some of those people might step forward.
Yeah, that's really the largest amount of our audience. We happen to know that statistically. So those of you who have never given before, what a great opportunity to jump aboard. 800-347-5151.
Also, you can go to the website, pointofview.net.
Yes.
And it's, again, as you go to the website, kind of in the bottom right, says join the team. And if you click on that, even before you call, maybe you want to look at whether you want the tote bag or the sport bag, that you can actually see some pictures of that, and that will help you out as well. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, Noel Bouché with us. He is the president of Pure Hope. We're going to talk about some of his passion and concern about everything from sexual purity to sexual trafficking. And along the way, we'll also have a chance to hear from others that want to give a testimony of the impact that Point of View has had in their lives. Stay tuned. We'll have more right after this.
The Point of View commentary with Kirby Anderson.
You know, the release of the Justice Department report on the Ferguson Police Department has renewed the national discussion about race relations in the police. A voice that needs to be heard in this discussion is Jason Riley. He is a senior editorial page writer at the Wall Street Journal and has been on the radio program. Earlier this year, he gave a speech at Hillsdale College on race relations and law enforcement that has been reprinted in Imprimis. He acknowledges that the shooting death of a young black man by a white police officer in Ferguson touched off a national discussion, but he wants to bring some important facts to the table. He begins by documenting that homicide is the leading cause of death for young black men in America. He also points out that 90% of the perpetrators are also black. It's also worth noting that 98% of black shooting deaths do not involve police. In fact, he says a cop is 6 times more likely to be shot by someone black than the opposite. He believes that any candid debate on race and criminal justice in the country must start with the fact that blacks commit an astoundingly disproportionate number of crimes. African Americans constitute about 13% of the population, but also commit about half of all the murders in the United States. The black arrest rate for most offenses, including robbery, assault, and property crimes, is typically 2 to 3 times their representation in the population. He says these statistics at least explain why police officers view black men with suspicion, since that demographic group commits more crimes than others. He concludes that the U.S. criminal justice system, currently headed by a black attorney general who reports to a black president, is a reflection of this reality, not the cause. The best way to change the perceptions is to change the behavior. But Jason Riley says that has become a taboo subject. I applaud him for wanting to address the topic. His voice needs to be heard in this national discussion. I'm Kirby Anderson, and that's my point of view.
Point of View, Truth Team 360, Sean McDowell.
Years ago, I had some questions and doubts about my faith, and I remember asking my dad, and he brought me some resources that he had gotten through Point of View. So it personally helped me. It was questions about New Age and God and government, just some things I was wrestling through. So it's helped me solidify my faith, which in turn has reverberated to the young people that I work with. So I think, as a whole, I mean, if we took Point of View out of the picture, there would be tons of families and tons of young people and even leaders today who I don't think would be there speaking with the confidence that they do. So I think Point of View and a lot of Christian radio speak kind of like a prophetic voice into our culture, and it's critical, and we need it. So I'm just thankful that Point of View is doing what they're doing.
Point of View, Truth Team 360.
Great testimony from Sean McDowell. By the way, he'll be on with us live later in the week. But I love that, Brad, as we're talking about somebody who has had a profound impact. Now, you can't do any better than having a father by the name of Josh McDowell.
Yeah, that helps.
But nevertheless, Sean McDowell was struggling with a few things, and Josh was saying, okay, I kind of know the apologetic stuff, but this guy Kirby, he knows kind of the government law stuff, so I'll pass that on. And so now he's taking it and passing it on to his students, you know, and trusting in faithful men who give to others also. And so he'll certainly have a lot more to say about that later in the week. But that's why we, without apology, are asking you to join with us on our Truth Team 360. You go to pointofview.net. Of course, that pledge line, 1-800-347-5151. We have in studio Brad, a friend of this ministry, somebody that we've known for some time, one of the great rising stars today. He's done such an outstanding job with Pure Hope. He is the president, Noel Bouché. And Noel, certainly thank you for joining us in the studio so very often, and thanks for being with us today here here as we're talking about Truth Team 360.
Well, thanks for having us again, and thanks for the gracious welcome. And, that's one thing we've loved at Pure Hope is partnering with you for those very reasons you just mentioned, including on a program like this, where we're really saying, we're demonstrating to people how we are working together as kingdom partners to advance the gospel, to equip believers to live out a life that proclaims the glory of Jesus in this 21st century, this digital age that is throwing many of us for a loop. So it's very exciting to be with you always.
Brad, one of the things I was thinking about is that we provide a forum for Noel, and certainly he deserves a forum everywhere, but the reality is we cover a lot of issues that simply aren't covered in other kinds of radio programs.
That's right. Another distinctive point of view is covering those hard issues, but yet they're part of life.
Yes. Well, Noel brings a lot to the table because he certainly has a desire to help teach the idea of sexual purity, and they have a parenting program. They have a recovery program for those that have gotten involved. But they also have a justice program. Here's a law student, a law graduate who was interested in sexual trafficking. And let's talk about that for just a minute, because we do, in addition to having the link to Truth Team 360, have a link to Pure Hope. And you have parenting, recovery, and justice as three major foundations of Pure Hope. Tell us more.
Well, yeah, if you go to purehope.net, you will see content in those three spaces. And really why we've landed there as an organization is we see those as the pillars of living a pure life in Christ. We need parents who are equipped to parent in this digital age, this sexualized culture that we live in. A lot of us have been wounded, and we need to have at least the first steps to recovery, how we find healing in this great healer whom we serve. And so we have content that helps you find recovery, find healing, and get connected with the great counseling resources across the country that are out there. And then our justice ministry. And like you said, this journey kind of started for me, like for all of us at birth, I guess, being born into this world and being called by the Lord to live this out. But I was in law school because I got exposed about 15 years ago to this injustice of the global sex trade and human trafficking, and especially the commercial sexual exploitation. And I thought, well, I want to go change the world. And how do I do that? I go get a law degree, and I run around the world and save people. And that is noble, and I know a lot of people who are doing that. But what happened in my journey was the Lord showed me, you know what? Ultimately, the change that we want and the change He said just to me in my heart that I am doing in these days is not going to be just in the courtrooms. It's not going to be just in the chambers of Parliament or Congress. It's not policy level changes. It is heart level changes. It is healing. And so I really started to realize that this virtue of justice has to be preceded by the virtue of purity in our lives. And especially in this sexualized culture we live in, because I wanted to go end the exploitation of women and children. And here I was, as a young 20-something guy going through law school, consuming content, consuming porn, consuming things that I wasn't thinking about that were hurting my intimacy with the Lord, with my wife, and hurting everyone around me. And I think that's part of the disconnect that more and more people are seeing. Even our own State Department kind of commented on this last year, interestingly. But that's what Pure Hope wants to do. We want to say there's a story here, and that story is one of Jesus, who is our purity. Purity, we say, is a relationship, not an accomplishment. It's being sanctified by the Holy One. So how do we do that in the 21st century? And how do we do that, most importantly, as followers of Jesus, but as parents and as young leaders who are going to be sent out from the campus culture into the world? That's who we're really trying to target. We want to equip leaders with it, but we want to get young parents and we want to get young leaders. Because if you want to change the future as well as the present, we think that's where you got to go.
You've got a long list of resources. We'll get to that in just a minute, but I was kind of struck by your journey because it reminds me of maybe the very first time I did an interview, and this goes back decades now, on this issue of sexual trafficking. It was, now it would be former Congresswoman Linda Smith, and she was dealing with sexual trafficking, but I noticed that the next time I interviewed her, a few years later, she was kind of going upstream and recognizing, we can fight this battle in the courts, and we can fight this battle in the legislatures, but we need to go upstream and fight this battle at the heart level. And so I've seen the same kind of thing, and I appreciate the heart that you have there. Pure Hope has been around for a long time, even though you're younger than most of us around the table. You have a legacy all the way back to Jerry Kirk, right?
Yeah,
and I used to interview him. So we also recognize the legacy and point of view of Marlon Maddox, the legacy of Jerry Kirk in terms of Pure Hope. And we stand on the shoulders of some really great people, don't we?
That's the beauty of this. And it's so tempting in this age where you can kind of, especially for people who, younger Gen X millennials, we can go run off and do our own thing. You can start your own Twitter feed and, change the world to some degree. And yet we have to recognize we stand in a shared tradition and we stand on the shoulders of those who have come before. It's something you and I have talked a lot about. Jerry Kirk, our founder, is an amazing man who I every day I wake up, I'm carrying that legacy forward.
Yes.
You in the same way, which we've talked about with Marlon. And even like a Linda Smith you mentioned. I mean, again, there's someone I look up to. I remember the first time I talked to Linda, to your point, she said to me, we were we had a heart to go rescue, especially girls who were being exploited in brothels. But as we looked at it, we saw this picture of these girls we were plucking out of this river of exploitation. And we'd pull one out, and there'd be 100 more coming down the road.
Yeah.
And we realized we needed to go to the source. We needed to go to the head springs. We needed to get upstream, as you said, to do that. And so that's where Pure Hope's heart is, and that's what we try to do every day faithfully.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I bring these kinds of guests in.
That's
Brad,
right.
you've talked about this before. We have, for some time, have talked about this issue. And I remember years ago when we talked about sexual exploitation at the Super Bowl, and I had people calling in, no, you're just making this stuff up. And then all of a sudden the secular media
right.
began to catch up with this. And so that's is one of the things we say, we will go after the kinds of issues. There's no issue off the table on Point of
That's
View.
right.
And so I hope that if you have appreciated what we've done over the years and appreciate the great ministry of Pure Hope, the ministry of Point of View, that you might consider what you might do to join with us, because we're looking for some of you to join the team.
That's right.
It's called Truth Team 360, pointofview.net. You can go there and click on the Join the Team, or, of course, the number 1-800-347-5151.
That's 800-347-5151. It help us continue to provide this kind of programming that you're not going to get anywhere else by joining our team and adding to that foundation for Point of View.
When we come back from the break, I want to spend a little bit of time with you, Noel, talking about some of the resources, because you have parenting in a sexualized culture, you have recovery in a sexualized culture, and I'd be remiss if we don't talk about that great film's about ready to come out, right?
That's right.
Talk about that for just a minute, because that is exciting. That is another great resource we want to put in the hands of people.
Yeah, we're really focused at Pure Hope on creating scalable solutions. We want to inspire people and equip them, and so we're taking a lot of the content on our website right now and really making that hitting the platforms that are going to touch people across the world. And the Hearts of Men film is one of those. That's a project that really has a kind of like we talked about with Linda and Pure Hope's journey, the same type of journey. It started off 5 or 6 years ago, recognizing there's so much injustice in Southeast Asia and India, and the way people are trafficked into that sex industry. And it has come full circle to, how do we end this? How do we oppose and undermine this injustice? We heal the hearts of men who drive this exploitation, who in their own sexual brokenness exploit others. And recognizing that we all have a part to play in that, recognizing that men in the church, A, are dealing with a lot of sexual brokenness, B, are contributing to some of these things that we want to oppose, but C, are hungry, if they have the right story, if they have the right community around them, to find a deeper level of intimacy with Jesus, which is what sets us free. It's what sets the captives free. It's powerful. So that film is going to do it. It's going to have an amazing storyline of the prodigal son, amazing leaders speaking into this issue, and then back-end resources that will help people get free.
We're going to talk more about that in just a minute, but as you support Point of View, don't forget that we have a video as part of the Uncensored video series. We had one on sex before marriage, one on sexual trafficking, on abortion, all sorts of other things. So you're supporting not only the radio broadcast, but you're supporting all sorts of other social media outreach. And again, as we go to a break, this would be a great time for those that are manning the phones, waiting for your phone call. We'd love to hear from some of you. 1-800-347-5151, 1-800-347-5151, or simply go to Point of View, bottom right-hand corner. Just click on Join the Team, and we want to see some of you join the team.
Four of you join the team right now.
And we're looking for that, and we'll be back right after this.
A 2013 survey asked people around the world whether sex without marriage is morally wrong. Every country where more than 90% said, yes, it's morally wrong, Islamic. The worst two, tied at 6% saying it's wrong, France and Germany, the nations of Calvin and Luther. Catholic Italy, 11%. Simply sad. The United States, 31%. Not even 1 in 3 thinks extramarital sex is morally wrong. Our nation needs a truth team very badly. Support Point of View Radio today at pointofview.net. Set up your monthly gift by clicking the Truth Team 360 picture and then carefully follow the directions. pointofview.net. By phone, you can give at 1-800-347-5151, 800-347-5151, or mail that first donation to Point of View, Box 30, Dallas, Texas 75221, Box 30, Dallas 75221. Point of View will continue after this.
You're listening to Point of View. The opinions expressed on Point of View do not necessarily reflect the views of the management or staff of this station. And now, here again is Kirby Anderson.
Once again, back in the studio today as we're talking about some of these very important issues, and really do recommend that you join with us, Truth Team 360. And we have in studio with us, Brad Fisk will be with us all week, and Noel Bouché. We'll get to Noel in just a minute. But Brad, I guess we have a leader. We have a leader.
Judy's stepping up at $50 a month. Thank you for that. She's picking up the sports bag. That's a welcome gift to the Truth Team 360, and you can get in on that too simply by giving us a call. 3 more of you during this segment. 1-800-347-5151. 800-347-5151. Of course, Kirby, always pointofview.net will get you taken care of as well. Click on that Join the Team right at the bottom right of the website.
Pretty nice looking sports bag. And
it's
for a guy
really nice.
Sitting next to actually a quarterback of a college football
team, you go.
Those are the kind of things you used to use, right?
I could use one of those today, actually. Mine's about 20 years old, like my joints right now.
It's pretty good. Noel Bouché with us, and again, we do challenge you to join with us at Truth Team 360, and that's $1 a day, $30 a month, $360 for the year.
Or more, as Judy did.
Yes, and there's a good example of more. Some people say, well, maybe I could give a little bit more. Some people give $65 a month. That's actually buying a minute a month. Or some people join us at the Century Club of $100. And
that's right.
You can find all of that on the website.
All
or
that
if you
detail.
call those listeners out there, those volunteers, they'll be glad to explain all of that to you. So again, we need to hear from a few more of you this particular segment. And we're talking with Noel Bouché. And Noel, let's talk about that film. It's coming out, Hearts of Men. I can see this showing in every church. I can see how we can use that in men's retreats. Matter of fact, I'm going to a men's retreat this weekend, and I'm speaking at a conference. I can't wait for that resource. Talk about it for a few minutes.
Well, we're looking at a release of late summer 2015, and we're really excited. Again, like we said earlier in the segment, it's a project that the Holy Spirit has just been all over, and we know it's such a need in the church right now. As a man walking around in the 21st century, as a man who's a sexual being, we're constantly buffeted, and we see that in the church, and we see a need for equipping and inspiration and an understanding of what does it mean to be a man, and how do I steward this sexuality really in a culture that is offering you everything, and this consumer-driven, sexualized culture. And so the message of this movie is that Jesus is the answer. He is our hope. He is our solution. And the unique thing about the film is that it's going to be a very compelling dramatic piece that has really 3 layers to it. It's a docudrama format. So there's going to be documentary level teaching and speaking into this issue at a very clear yet profound level that's going to equip you. But the overarching narrative is a reworking of the prodigal son. And that man who leaves the father and yet finds a father not angry with him, but welcoming him back when he turns and says, this is where my life is and where I'm going to get it. So we shot that in Hawaii about 2 months ago. We're in post-production right now. It's just going to be something that I think a lot of us have never seen. We've never looked at this issue of our sexual identity in this way before. So out of it is going to spawn many, many resources. We want to get things that go viral. We want to get teaching that leaders in churches can use to lead men, to lead women, to lead parents together in a deeper address of this issue with their sons and get out in front of this. So we got a great vision for it, and we're really, really excited. We see people coming around. We got people like Francis Chan and Dan Allender and the True Face guys out of Phoenix. Amazing voices speaking into this issue in a new and fresh way.
And we last time had you in studio here with somebody else who has actually participated in that, one of the production team, if you will. And if people want to know a little bit more about that, that was a 1-hour interview, and that's another advantage of Point of View. You can go to click on shows and then use that search engine and type in, if they can't spell your last name, they can certainly spell Noel, N-O-E-L, and it'll pop up, and then they can actually find that show and listen to it its entirety in case they would like to share that with their pastor and find out more about all the production values that went into it.
And if you're listening right now, we would love you to do that. That was Jason Paymer, our producer, who was on with me, and we walked out saying, what an amazing experience to be with you, Kirby, but to be with all of your listeners and to speak into that issue. And that's one of the things we love about Point of View, is that it provides that platform to speak literally to the nations. And especially, like you said earlier, Brad, and the issues that sometimes don't get the play or the airtime that they really deserve in behind the pulpit or on services on Sunday. And so we came out valuing that. It actually opened some doors for us in the project and moved that forward. So, if you're listening today, I would encourage you, again, give to Point of View. And I keep coming back to what Jesus said. He said, where your treasure is, your heart will be also.
That's right.
We sometimes turn that around, but it's where your treasure is. And that's how I encourage people. When there's a kingdom-focused enterprise that I believe in, I tell people, I want you to give because I want your treasure there because your heart's going to be there then too. And that's how I think about Point of View. I mean, this is something we believe in at Pure Hope, and we love the platform that you create, Kirby.
Brad, how can people do so?
They can do so by getting in touch with us. We're a listener-supported ministry. That means we depend on your calls at 1-800-347-5151. That's 800-347-5151. Hey, you could click, go to our website at pointofview.net, click on the bottom right-hand corner, say join the team, and you can join us that way as well. You can even mail us your check if you like, and any way you want to do it, give us a call. Would you? 800-347-5151.
We'll get the address a little bit later because some people thought you'd just try to check out.
That's right.
Just make sure you put Truth Team 360 on it so we know that can count. Because a little bit later we're going to have a match, and people are certainly going to want to make sure that their gift doubles.
That's right.
So that's an opportunity. But Noel, just before we wind down, we are going to really promote the film when it comes out. But a lot of people saying, well, do you have anything right now? And the answer is yes. You've got Recovery in a Sexualized Culture, Parenting in a Sexualized Culture, Exploited, the Pure Justice Bible Study. You have an intern program. Let's talk about all the ways listeners can already participate with what you're doing.
Yeah, well, as you said earlier, if you go to purehope.net, you're really going to see a treasure trove of resources that are going to help you right where you are. And I can speak from experience. I mean, coming to Pure Hope out of law practice, in my case, changed my life. I mean, it has changed the way I follow my Lord. It has changed my understanding of myself as a male sexual being. You know, we focus on 3 areas, as you pointed out earlier: parenting, justice, and recovery. As a parent of young daughters, in my case, like most of you, I'm pulling my hair out, you know, parts of the day, good parts of the day, most days. And our content has equipped me as a parent to have the ongoing dialogue that we need about sexuality in their lives, to be able to create a strategy in our homes, how we use technology, how we make decisions around mobile devices and other things that all of us as families are utilizing. And then how to leave a legacy, how to model that. We've really learned, me and my wife, that we have to model everything. You know, do as I say, not as I do. It doesn't work. It does not work, and we need to model this pursuit of purity. And so it has changed me as a man and as a father and as a lawyer, as you said, as someone who wanted to do justice, but could never really figure out, how do I do justice every day? You know, how do I not just lean on the big experiences that I can post on Facebook and say, look what I did? We've decided, and we've found at Pure Hope, that this is a lifestyle that creates that culture. It's the 1,000 small choices we make every day. It's decisions we make about porn that affect where the anti-human trafficking movement is going. It's decisions we make about my identity, my media consumption, how I relate to other people in a hookup culture that is actually the boots on the ground of doing justice.
That's right.
And then in recovery, we all need healing. And you know, thankfully, personally, right now, I'm not in the depths of addiction. I know people who are. I know family members who are.
And some have called into the show talking about that. Yes.
It is so many of us. But even I just came out of a counseling session that just the other week that had me in tears because I'm realizing there are still wounds in my own heart that need to be healed. And so everything we're doing at Pure Hope, whether it's our recovery, our parenting, our justice, or the Hearts of Men film, or our internship for college students, where we're really trying to equip not just doers of justice in the next generation, but pursuers of purity who find that healing so that they can lead others to that freedom. That's our focus. So if you go to purehope.net, you'll see that story, and we believe we're on the cusp of some great things in the coming years.
And I think illustrates again all the more need. You know, when Jerry Kirk first started this, you had to go to a seedy section of town to find pornography, and now it's just a mouse click away. So we've needed you all the time, but we need you even more now. Brad, that's one of the reasons why we partner with Pure Hope, because these are important issues, and we believe they deserve attention, and certainly that's why we encourage people right now to join with us at Truth Team 360.
That's right. You can join us by simply stepping up and saying, I want to be a part of what you're doing at Point of View day in and day out. You know, 42 years of faithful ministry. That's Point of View. Isn't that amazing? I mean, 42 years foundational. 800-347-5151. That's 1-800-347-5151. You don't have to have the money now. This is a pledge for the next year. And so just give us a call. Say, I'm going to stand with you at that $360 a year level, or you may be led to do a different level, or a single gift of $100. Whatever it is, your best gift at 800-347-5151. 800-347-5151. And of course, on the website,
pointofview.net, and I would encourage you to go there because you can get a chance to see the tote bag and the sport bag. And again, I know you don't give to get, but it's a way of saying welcome to Truth Team 360. Really do encourage you to do so. And as we heard from one of our callers, and we'll probably give an update at the break, the next one here, some were willing to say, I could probably do more than $1 a day or $30 a month. Maybe I can do $65 a month. That's, in a sense, buying a minute a month, or $100 a month. I could probably do that. There's no way I could come up with $1,200, but I could maybe come up with $100 a month, and over a year, that adds up very significantly. So we're looking for your participation and encourage you to visit the website, pointofview.net, or, of course, that number, 800-347-5151. Let's take a break. Noel Bouché, thanks for being with us. We'll do it again.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. It was great.
Point of View, Truth Team 360, Rebecca Hagelin.
Point of View provides a combination of what is truly happening in public policy in the culture around the country and provides a worldview from which to judge what the believer should do about the culture and public policy. It's a critical source of information, inspiration, and also what possible action steps might be.
Point of View, Truth Team 360,
Rebecca Hagelin, she was the Vice President of Communications at the Heritage Foundation. I appreciate her good words, and certainly in the past, she actually, I thought it was interesting, Brad, when she was on with us last time, actually put a match on the table right then, spontaneously.
Oh, that's fun.
But we have a match right now,
We
don't
do.
we?
Actually, we do. $1,100 match. And let's try to get this done during this segment
That would
before
be
the
good.
top of the hour. Okay, so the phone number to call if you want to get in on this match, that means every dollar you're giving to us, some friends of the ministry have pooled together their resources to match you dollar for dollar. So every dollar you give is doubled. This is the way it works.
And again, I think it's a very good opportunity for some people that say, well, I'll just wait until I can really make an impact. Well, you're making an impact right now.
Yeah, you're doubling your gift to us. 1-800-347-5151. 800-347-5151. And our web team has set up an easier way to even use the web.
Pointofview.net/team.
That gets you right there on the page.
Pointofview.net/team. Or if you simply end up at Point of View, you can find it's a lower right-hand corner. Either way, but pointofview.net/team. And that is a way that you can participate because we want to hear from some of you that are listeners. Let's hear from one of our listeners, Alice.
I've listened to Point of View for years. Boy, I can't afford not to support you. Point of View gives me a voice, and I just appreciate you. And I've been here listening for years, right from the beginning. So I thank you, and I do. Again, I said I can't afford not to support you because I want you to keep going.
Brad, don't you love that?
I
can't
love it.
afford not to.
I love it. What a great way to put that. You know, there are over 1 million people that listen to this program on a weekly basis. And, where else are you going to be able to have access to 30,000 podcast downloads that happen every month? I mean, be part of that 30,000 people that are doing that. Or how about this? Our broadcast is heard on over 320 stations throughout the United States. I'm giving you these facts because there's a reason. It's the influence that we can have on the culture. And ultimately, Kirby, is not the aim, as our last guest just stated. It's the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's honoring and lifting up the Lord Jesus Christ. Ultimately, that's why we do everything we do.
You know, we cover a lot of these issues, and we try to cover them in terms of some amount of depth. Even today, Noel Bouché was only with us for 2 segments, but sometimes we'll keep a guest on for an entire hour, for an entire 2 hours, so you go deeper.
That's right.
And it isn't just the soundbite kind of material that sometimes you get from other broadcast or even television programs, because television, as you well know, we both worked in television a little bit as well as radio. It is such a visually demanding medium. You can't keep people on the screen that long. But radio, you can sit back and really listen, but of course then also the breadth of what we cover. So you're supporting not only the radio program, but as you go to the website, you see what you're supporting there. We've talked about social media. We have our uncensored video up there right now on human trafficking. We have one on sex before marriage. We have one on abortion. We have all sorts of videos, and we're recognizing the importance of social media. So when you go to pointofview.net/team, you're really supporting not just a radio ministry, but a full media ministry. And so we do need your financial support. And we have a match on the table right now.
We do. $1,100 match on the table. Don't delay. Get to the phones and fill them right up with your gift of support, because every dollar you give up to that amount is going to be doubled. 800-347-5151. That's toll free. 1-800-347-5151. You
know, one of the other people that we certainly love to talk about and talk to is Tony Perkins. He is the head of the Family Research Council. In just a few minutes, we're going to be talking with Gary Bauer, who used to head it up FRC. But Tony Perkins wanted to also speak to our listeners today and talk about why they should join with us at Truth Team 360.
That is a very important aspect Christians sometimes miss. They take for granted programs like Point of View, ministries that bring truth, that defend the Judeo-Christian worldview in the public square, just thinking that they'll be there. And as Christians, you know, we're one body, but we have different functions. And some are, you know, the hands, the feet, some are the mouthpiece, some do the frontline work, while others supply the resources, but we're one body. And so I think it's very important that the Christian community understand that they are a part of the ministry of Point of View and other organizations like that are out there informing, standing, defending, speaking the truth, but we've got to work together. And so it's very important that Point of View stays on the air, continues to proclaim the truth, to reach people with important, timely information. And that's critical because you are so timely in the information that you bring that people then can take action to make a difference. So I would encourage people to continue and even increase their support, because I'm going to tell you the next few years I believe are going to be very difficult, and we're going to be called upon increasingly to stand and proclaim the truth.
Tony Perkins with Family Research Council, and again, talking about how we really need to support organizations like Point of View, because we're going to have to stand strong and stand tall.
He made a very important point. He said, even those of you who are already supporting, perhaps you need to increase your gift. We would love to invite you to supersize what you might be giving currently to Point of View and bless us, possibly work your way up to that $360 level, maybe $65 a month, which is a minute of broadcasting that you could underwrite. How about $100 a month? There's lots of giving levels we could suggest, but at least that base level, $360 a year. You can spread that out over $30 a month, and it allows us to give you a thank you gift.
And for those of you online, you can actually see, I'm holding them up right now. There is the sports bag.
Okay, now that has lots of pockets in it. It has a really cool, I think you put the smelly gym socks out of the end of that one. That's an air hole there. I'm guessing, I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And now this canvas bag.
And then we have the tote bag.
Okay, if my wife saw that right now, she'd be, because it has a zipper in the top. So you can, and it has pockets inside, internal pockets, heavy canvas. That is a piece of work. By the way, that's from Land's End. That's high quality stuff. So a nice welcome gift. Again, if you give at 800-347-5151, that's a gift of $360 a year, a pledge or more. And you don't have to have those funds in hand right now. This is a pledge for the coming year. Again, you can give 800-347-5151, 800-347-5151, and online.
Again, I'm just thinking, even as we've had a chance to hear from a few of these listeners and guests and others, how we have really been educating millions and millions over the years.
Absolutely.
I mean, it really is amazing to me.
It is.
The legacy of something over 42 years, and to hear a person like, certainly we talked a few minutes ago with Sean McDowell that certainly was learning from his father, Josh McDowell, but also learning from us and passing it on to others. Rebecca Hagelin listening to us out of Houston, and then eventually is in leadership at Heritage Foundation. So again, you're supporting not just this radio program, not just this media ministry, you're supporting the impact that we will have on the next generation and the impact we've already had. So please take the time to go to pointofview.net/team, and that's a way you can help us out.
That's pointofview.net/team. I'll just ask you one question as we close out. Do you really think we need to continue to have Point of View as a daily radio broadcast proclaiming the truth in a culture that is very dark?
And I think Tony Perkins put it only so well. We're going to, in just a minute, have a chance to hear from Gary Bauer. And again, he will remind us of some of the real significant challenges we have in the future. So this is a great time as we go to a break for you to give us a call, 800-347-5151. We have that $1,100 match.
$1,100 match.
And we want to make sure that we meet it.
Dollar for dollar.
Let's take a break. Pointofview.net/team or 1-800-347-5151.
We need you in Truth Team 360. This is the week. Today is the day. Please stop whatever you're doing right now and stand with us. Join us for $1 a day, $30, a minute a month, $65, or step up as a Century partner with $100 each month. We have a special page set up for you. Visit pointofview.net. On the right side, maybe you'll scroll down just a bit, look for the Truth Team 360 graphic. Click on that, and then click next to $30, $65, or $100, and choose your gift from the drop-down list. We will set things up to receive your donation each month. It could not be easier. If you want to give all at once, look on the right side above the tote bag picture. We have a special button for that annual partnership gift. Join Truth Team 360, pointofview.net. By phone, you can give at 1-800-347-5151, or mail that first donation to Point of View, Box 30, Dallas, Texas 75221. Point of View will continue after this.
I just thank God for y'all. I listen to you every day, truly. I wanted to thank y'all for everything you do each day to inform Christian families and our community about the things we can do, and just the way you're so informative. I listen to you daily and love you guys and appreciate you so much.
God bless you, Kirby, for keeping this show so on track and for the decades of wonderful help to this nation that Point of View has been. We're all big fans of your work, and we pray that God will just prosper it.
As a Christian, over the years that I've followed this program, I am constantly challenged to be on guard and to evaluate what's going on. And if for no other reason, to protect the caliber and the truth of your programming, I need to participate and to back your program financially to ensure that the truth stays out there for people to hear, to view, and to be a part of.
This is Point of View Radio.
Hi, this is Kirby Anderson. You know, each day we take on the tough issues and provide a biblical perspective to them. The topics we cover are wide-ranging: apologetics, theology, prophecy, creation and evolution, intelligent design, marriage, family, child-rearing, the millennial generation, trends in society, politics, economics, business, religious liberty, the Constitution, public policy, foreign policy, military policy, tensions in the Middle East, abortion, homosexuality, pornography, sexual ethics, media, technology, history, and America's godly heritage. We talk about anything that affects your faith, your family, or your freedom. So don't go anywhere, because Point of View continues right now.
Across America, live. This is Point of View. And now, Kirby Anderson.
Thank you for joining us today here on Point of View. About an hour ago, we launched Truth Team 360, but I recognize some of you are joining the conversation. And with us in studio, Brad Fiska, friend of the ministry. And Brad, you know how sometimes you walk into a room and the conversation's already been going and you're kind of trying to catch up? Well, for anybody that just happens to tune in right now, they're going, okay, you need to back up a little bit. And so we're going to do so.
We're going to do that. And we're going to just, basically what we're doing this week, Kirby, is we're giving our listeners, our friends, a chance to come alongside us, not only as listeners of the broadcast, but financial supporters of the broadcast. So we're going to give you an opportunity to join a brand new team that we have created called Truth Team 360. And we're inviting you to join that team for a gift of $360 a year or more. You get to join the team. And we have a welcome gift for you as you join the team. And we've got people calling and doing just that. Again, you're calling, by the way, 1-800-347-5151.
I just mentioned that this team is one that you can join for as little as $1 a day, $30 a month, $360 a year. That's why it's called Truth Team 360. But it's also the idea of we need to be aware of our surroundings. So what's in front of us, what's to the side of us, what's behind us.
Yep.
Sometimes we get blindsided, and that's another aspect of Point of View. We really want to educate you and alert you and give you discernment so that you see things coming into your life.
As a consumer of your content, you know, you're watching my back. That's kind of the way I look at it. And that's part of that 360 concept, because I am pretty busy and I don't have time to keep track of all the issues every day. So I can rely on Point of View and the team here to keep us informed of what's really going on in our culture that is really, frankly, tearing down righteousness and truth with a capital T.
Now, I might just mention that we will have Gary Bauer with us in just a minute, and we're going to spend some time chatting with him. But before we go to him, and also have a chance to hear from some of you that have called in and said thank you for Point of View, we do have a match on the table. It's the first one we've put on, and that is it's $1,100.
That's right.
So that gives you a chance that if you pledge right now, you give right now, that your gift is doubled. So your gift of $50 becomes $100. Your gift of $30 a month becomes $60 a month.
That's right.
And you've got, I think, Brad's
I've got a big handful here.
Yeah, let's see if we can work our way through a few of them.
So basically, these are friends who have gotten in on the match challenge. Frank from Texas with your gift. Thank you. It's doubled. And thank you for Margaret from, I can't read that city, New Bern. Okay, that's a city. Donna from Ohio. Carol from Nevada, thank you so much, and Philip from Florida. So just a few of our friends checking in with us right now in the early hours of our week-long share-a-thon. We're here coming to you, asking for you to be a part of our support team.
So again, we need to hear from a few more of you because we have not met our match yet.
No.
And we'll keep that on the table a little bit longer, and hopefully we'll have a few more throughout the week. But this is an opportunity for you to support this ministry for as little as $1 a day, $30 a month, $360 a year. We've also mentioned the tote bag, and I showed some pictures of that, and I'll hold it up again here in just a minute because we have the tote bag or the sport bag.
That's right. Now, this is a really high quality. These are two very high quality items. Okay, this isn't just a kind of a throwaway thing. I mean, this is Land's End quality. Okay, so the tote bag, heavy canvas, pockets inside, and then holding up. Right, if you're on the video side of things, there's the sports bag. So you have a choice of one of those two gifts as you join at that $360 a year level, $30 a month. 800-347-5151. We have a vision of building a new foundation of supporters beneath us as we look to continue to do what we're doing, do it better, and do more of it. That's what we want to see happen.
Let's hear from one of our listeners. This is what Bobby had to say.
I have listened to Point of View for a number of years, and since I've been retired, I listen daily. And I decided that you guys were worthy of my giving, and I chose to donate the money monthly so that it would be a part of my monthly giving. Point of View is a very unique ministry and gives us a Christian perspective. I really admire and respect you. You show so much love and affection and interest and care for your callers, and that impressed me too.
I get a comment every once in a while. I did a thing just the other day with our good friends at KYCC, and that's one of the things they talked about, that, we don't, sometimes there are times when I do roll my eyes with some of the comments that some of our skeptical or hostile callers make, but try to treat them with dignity because they're worthy of respect, because they're created in God's image as well. And Bobby is just one more individual that thought it was worthy of her support and gives monthly. So individuals can give by writing a check or giving online, or they can actually have us automatically deduct it from their checking account. So there are all sorts of ways people can give.
And perhaps you're already part of the giving team. There's several thousand of you listening that are. And would you consider upsizing your gift, supersizing your gift up to that $360 a year level and join Truth Team 360? Ladies and gentlemen, our culture is, I'm not sure it's becoming more biblical. Let me just put it that way for now. And I think, in fact, I know that we need to hear truth, because what's really bugging me, Kirby, is truth is being redefined by everybody else around me. I'm saying, wait a minute, no, that's not marriage. That's not what God set up. Why are you calling it that? That's not what it is. So if you believe as I do and hear the passion in my voice, then I would invite you to join the Truth Team 360. 1-800-347-5151. Toll free 800-347-5151. 5151.
In my teaching in my Sunday school class, we came to the passage where Pilate asked, what is truth? Because we're getting ready, of course, for Easter. And, truth is defined as relative truth, personal truth, postmodern truth, cultural truth. But we believe here in biblical truth. Yep. And I thought it might be important for just a minute to hear from Ted Baer, because he is also understanding how the media has really redefined truth.
Point of view is extremely important because we're facing a tsunami of misinformation in our society, and it's driving our children and grandchildren away from the faith of the founding fathers and the faith of their parents. Only 1 out of 10 children keep the values of their parents, according to Cornell University. About 17% keep the values, according to USA Today recent article. So somewhere between 10 and 20% keep them, but that means 80 to 90% are losing that. And Point of View deserves support on all areas. It deserves our prayers, and it deserves our financial support. It is bringing us the truth in a very clear and concise manner. It understands the issues being presented on Point of View. They are donor-supported, and being a donor-supported organization, I must tell you that they are not going to be able to continue without your support. I urge you to support them with your prayers and with your finances significantly, as much as you can, because they're at the forefront of spiritual warfare and taking every thought captive for Jesus and for the truth.
Again, talking about truth, and that's Ted Baer. We need to take a break, and this is a great opportunity for you to, first of all, if you would like, visit the website, pointofview.net/team, or just simply go to Point of View, and you'll see on the lower right-hand corner that Truth Team 360, and just click on Join the Team, and you can actually see the various options, because we want to send you a welcome gift. Of course, we also have the pledge line, 1-800-347-5151. But this would be a great opportunity for you right now. We have a match on the table.
We do.
Pointofview.net/team. We need to hear from some more of you.
Every dollar you give will be doubled right now, so give us a call.
We'll be back right after this, talking with Gary Bauer.
The
Point of View commentary with Kirby Anderson.
You know, one action that Eric Holder took as he was leaving the Office of Attorney General was to issue an official memorandum that creates special employment status for transgendered persons under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Meanwhile, other state officials and legislatures are also extending similar rights to men and women who have changed or are changing their gender identity. If you wonder what the implications are to such actions, you need only see what happened in a gym in Michigan. Yvette Cormer went to Planet Fitness to shape up. Instead, she got shipped out. She walked into the woman's locker room and saw someone wearing a wig that she said was huge and very manly. She said that she was freaked out and complained to the front desk about the transgender man/woman. After the employee told her that it was company policy to allow members to use whatever locker room associates with their gender identity, Yvette decided to tell everyone in the locker room what happened. That's why Planet Fitness canceled her membership. She then decided to contact the corporate office at Planet Fitness. You would think that they might have tried to find a resolution, but the company's public relations director stood by the decision and said the company's gender identity non-discrimination policy states that members and guests may use all facilities based on their sincere, self-reported gender identity. Planet Fitness is free to enforce whatever policy they want, and customers are also free to avoid a gym and fitness center that allows men who think they are women to undress and shower in a woman's locker room. Before you join a gym, I encourage you to see what policy they might have and what state regulations might have been enacted. Sadly, this is a preview of coming attractions unless government officials begin to use some biological common sense. We will see more of this in restrooms and locker rooms across the country unless we challenge some of these federal and state regulations. I'm Kirby Anderson, and that's my point of view.
Point of View, Truth Team 360, Alan Carlson.
I think Point of View deserves your listeners' support. I sense some dark years ahead. I think partly through failures of maybe the Republican Party and some others. I have a feeling that the Christian community and socially conservative citizens are going to come under increased pressure over the next few years. I suspect a broad effort is going to be mounted to try to silence the Christian witness in public policy. That's why I think Point of View is more necessary than ever, and there's probably never been a more important time to invest in it than right now.
Point of View, Truth Team 360.
In Alan Carlson, I think, hit it right on the button. Brad Fisk in studio with me. We're going to be talking with, obviously, our good friend Gary Bauer. But even today, my commentary is on that transgender experience, which I think just illustrates the dark days ahead.
That's right.
Again, for people that haven't read my commentary or heard it on radio today, this woman goes into a gym, and there's a man in there, and she goes, why is a man in a woman's restroom? Although she is kind of dressed up a little bit like a woman, goes back and complains. They say, well, that's just our policy. So she then starts telling everybody in the gym what's going on, and they kick her out.
And then she loses her membership.
Yeah, so it used to be that you would kick the man out, but instead we kick the woman out. And this commentary has generated all sorts of comments, but my favorite one, Brad, so far is, if somebody comes into your home or your business and says they're a parakeet, we put them in an institution. But if they come in and a man says, I'm a woman, well, then we kick the other people out because they're so, I mean, it's just, it illustrates the insanity that we're talking about right now. It really is insanity. Well, I'm sure Gary Bauer is going to have something to say about that. But let me also mention that we're in the midst of Truth Team 360, really challenging you to join with us for $1 a day, $360 a year. And Gary Bauer certainly is no stranger to point of view. He's the president of American Values, served, of course, for many years under Ronald Reagan as the chief domestic policy advisor, was president of the Family Research Council, and always a great friend. Gary Bauer, thanks for joining us today here on Point of View.
You're welcome. Great to be with you as always.
What about this? A woman walks into a woman's restroom and expects to see women in a restroom, but apparently we can't expect that anymore, can we?
No, Kirby, right is left, up is down, good is bad. I mean, we're living in an increasingly a make-believe world given to us by the secular left in America. When I first saw the story, and by the way, your commentary, as usual, was excellent, but when I first saw the story, I imagined how I would feel if my wife Carol had come home and told me that was something she had experienced at the gym, or if our daughters, when they were younger, had come home and said, Dad, there was a man in the changing room, and the gym told me that I was a bigot if I wasn't willing to get undressed in front of him. I mean, this stuff is absurd. It wasn't that long ago in America. It gets you punched in the nose. But now it's being elevated as if it's on a par with, the March on Selma and the search for civil rights for African Americans, which it has nothing to do with.
That's just amazing. Brad Fisk is with us. And Brad, one of the reasons we call this Truth Team, and you really get the benefit of calling it Truth 360, is the fact is we really just need to keep our minds and our eyes open for all of these things, because truth has been completely redefined, hasn't it?
It has. And it's people like you, Gary, who help us, redirect us and saying, wait a minute, remember, this is a lie. This is not truth. And that's why Point of View is in existence and continues to be such an influence.
Well, Gary, again, we recognize this gay agenda is very aggressive. Most of us usually live in a world of live and let live. And even if I disagree with someone, I say, well, that's your lifestyle, and I may tell you what the Bible has to say, but I'm not going to force you or put you through a re-education program. But right now, if you're a photographer or you're a florist or you're a baker and somebody wants to actually use your services for same-sex marriage and you refuse, you pay a heavy penalty, don't you?
No question about it. And, we've talked about this over the years many times. Dr. James Dobson and I wrote a book years ago called Children at Risk, and one of the points we made is that in spite of the rhetoric used by some of the folks on the radical side of things about tolerance, in fact, there is no country in the world, no society in the world, no culture in the world that is neutral about values. Every nation has a group of ideas that it holds up as being good and decent and something to follow and emulate and to mold your life after. And every culture has things that it debases, looks down on, says you must avoid, and so forth. So this has always been a battle, not about live and let live. America has pretty much been a live and let live country from its very beginning. It's a battle over what's going to predominate, what's going to be the way we describe to our children what is good and noble and decent. I thought it was pretty telling that the owners of that gym told the woman who complained, look, we're non-judgmental about what people think they are, and by the way, you're expelled from the gym. Yeah. Well, they're not non-judgmental, right? They made a judgment that it's okay for people to wake up on a particular day and say to themselves, gee, today I think I'm a woman.
I know. Crazy.
Well, and I think it illustrates again what even David Brooks was writing about just the other day, because the point he was making is this idea of non-judgmentalism, first of all, doesn't work, but it's really the price we pay for, or what he called the cost of relativism, where we need new norms. And that's one of the reasons why in my commentary back on March 19th, I said, yeah, if you're looking for norms, I know where you can find them. Those are in the Bible.
Yep.
And he was talking about times when we've reestablished norms, and with maybe one exception, almost all the others, Gary, were during a time of a revival, a reformation, or a great awakening. So if we are going to talk about the solutions, which you and I like to talk about, we need to look to the church, we need to look to the Bible, we need to look to Jesus Christ as those answers, don't we?
No question about it. Obviously, I've made my life in public policy and working in Washington and being in government for a number of years with Ronald Reagan and so forth. And I believe that's where God chose me to work. But I have absolutely no confusion in my mind about what's going to make the difference ultimately in America, and that's whether or not we get back to the biblical-based values that the founders believed in. They all took to Constitution Hall those values when they wrote our founding documents, when they wrote the words, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator. That was the God of Abraham, the God of the Torah and the New Testament. So, no, that kind of revival has to take place first before our politics and our public policy ever gets on the right path. Kirby, the sad thing is, for a lot of Americans, if they just listened to the evening news and read the daily newspaper, they wouldn't even know this event happened at the gym.
Yes,
and they wouldn't know similar events like that all over the country that are happening every day. It's only by listening to things like Point of View that Americans find out what the ultimate agenda is here. Your listeners wouldn't have been surprised by that story. What we've all got to do is make sure that programs like yours and this network continue to thrive, because that's the only way millions of Americans are going to find out the information that they need.
Well, what a great setup. When we come back from a break, I do want to talk about a few other things. First of all, there was a candidate who announced today that talked about his faith and talked about the importance of linking that faith to the founders. And I'd be remiss if I did not ask Gary Bauer a little bit about that election in Israel last week. Yes. So we'll get to that. But we do need, as we're going to a break, Brad, to talk about the fact that we still have a match on the table. That means that if you give, say you decide to give $30 a month, $360 a year, that $30 becomes $60.
That's right.
And so again, if you have been saying, well, I think I'll wait to the last day, please don't wait to the last day. We've got a match on the table right now, and you can help support Point of View. Just heard Gary Bauer talking about how important it is for you to call 800-347-5151. Of course, it's pointofview.net/team.
That's pointofview.net/team. The pledge line, 1-800-347-5151. Looking for several of you this time to join Truth Team 360 and be a part of the financial support team of Point of View, because our goal is to increase what we're doing, have more influence in what we're doing, and tell more people the truth of the gospel.
Again, we'll come back and continue our conversation with Gary Bauer. We have a link to American Values. Let me always, as I always do, encourage you to get his end-of-day report. That's also where you learn about some of these bizarre stories that we talk about here on Point of View as well. But as we're going to a break, this is a great time to hear from you. So please, 1-800-347-5151. Can some of you just pick up a phone call right now? We've got volunteers. They want to talk to you. So do that. If you can, pointofview.net/team. If you want to go online, we'll be right back.
Some people are saying that Christians have lost the fight for America. So-called same-sex marriage is before the Supreme Court, and we've already seen Christians charged and fined for refusing to go along. A woman in Michigan walked into the locker room at her local gym, found a man there. When she complained, she was told, well, he identifies as a woman. And when she quietly warned others, her membership was canceled. And how do you think those all-gender bathrooms in public schools are going to work out? Yes, things are hard, but when has it ever been easy to stand up for what's right? As old Ben Franklin said, we must all hang together, or assuredly we shall all hang separately. Stand together with us in Truth Team 360. Join right now at pointofview.net. Pointofview.net. Click on the picture down the right side of the page, Truth Team 360. By phone, you can give at 1-800-347-5151. 800-347-5151. Or mail your first donation to Point of View, Box 30, Dallas, Texas 75221.
Point of View will continue after this. You are listening to Point of View. The opinions expressed on Point of View do not necessarily reflect the views of the management or staff of this station. And now, here again is Kirby Anderson.
Back once again, Gary Bauer with us for a few more minutes, and in studio with me today, Brad Fisk, friend of the ministry, and we've been talking about Truth Team 360, and we've had a number of people sign up.
That's right. Karen from Athens joined the team, and we had a listener call back and upped their pledge. They were giving monthly, and they wanted to give an extra gift toward that match of $50, so that was matched to $100. We have another Stephen joining the team, and Stanley joining the team, and Gail from California joining the team. So we have a lot of new team members joining up right now. Thank you so much for giving at 1-800-347-5151. The match is cared for, so thank you for calling 800-347-5151. There is room for you right now.
Gary Bauer with us for a few more minutes. And Gary, certainly I thank you for being such a loyal supporter of Point of View. We believe in you, and I certainly always like to encourage people to sign up for the End of Day Report to support American values and the campaign for working families and so many good things that you do. But I also appreciate your support and the fact you even came and spoke for our luncheon one time and encouraged donors to support this ministry.
I had a great time on that trip there, Kirby, and I have to tell you, there are more and more days in Washington where I wonder whether I should just buy a one-way ticket to stay in Texas. So you guys, every time we do the interview, and you are gracious enough to put up on your own webpage a way for people to contact me, I always hear from your loyal listeners, and they are they're really a natural resource at this point. You've educated folks. You've helped them understand the trends of our time. You arm them with the facts that they need, and they end up being a great force in Texas and beyond for the values that we care about so greatly.
You know, one of the things that's been kind of fun is just to hear two of the testimonies in the first hour. One was from Sean McDowell, was by tape, and one by Rebecca Hagelin. But both of those individuals benefited when they were younger to the position they're in right now. Sean McDowell saying that he was really kind of trying to think through some issues about government and law. And when you have a dad by the name of Josh McDowell, the apologetics is kind of covered. But Josh was smart enough to say, Kirby's got some good things. And so he gave them to Sean, and now he's passing those on to
his
audiences and to even the students that he teach. Rebecca Hagelin remembers listening to us when she was in Houston long before she became Vice President of Communications at Heritage Foundation. Of course, we've talked about Michelle Bachman listening since the age of 19 to First Point of View, and then some other programs that we've done over the years. So there is a sense in which we are benefiting from having built up a leadership team, but we really want to reach this next generation.
That's right.
Gary, you know more than anybody that the younger you are, the more likely you are to accept things like homosexuality, more likely you are to accept cultural or moral relativity, and it seems to me that that's why we need this program more than ever before.
Well, you're absolutely right. America's young people, including Christian young people, are given a constant diet of this message of the cultural and radical left, the moral relativism crowd. They get it in the schools and the universities. We've always warned parents, don't spend your lives saving money only to send your kids to places where the professors are going to tell them that everything your parents taught you is wrong, old-fashioned, stupid, etc. Help your kids pick that right university or college. But with all these pressures from the popular culture, your kids sort of breathe the poisoned air of those messages, and there needs to be an antidote. There needs to be a way they can get that information or that encouragement that they're not going to get anyplace else. We all hope and pray that they get it at home or they get it from pastors, but all too often it doesn't even happen at home, and it sometimes doesn't even happen in the churches. And that's why having alternatives and other communication centers like what you all do is so central to winning this battle for the hearts and minds of our kids.
Yep.
Let me again encourage you to visit the website, pointofview.net/team, and that is a way that you can give to actually the ministry as well as become part of the Truth Team 360. Okay, I'd be remiss if I did not ask Gary Bauer about the election in Israel, and all of us know the answer, but would love to hear it from you.
Well, look, I was so excited that that Prime Minister Netanyahu was able to overcome all of the things that were working against him, including, unfortunately, the interference of the Obama administration in the election. The president had his operatives in Israel. They put together one of these vicious, demonizing TV ad campaigns that we so often have seen here in the United States, aimed at conservative figures in public life. They tried the same thing in Israel, and in spite of all that, the prime minister won re-election. Now, I wish I could say that things are on an even keel now, but in the days since the election, if anything, I'm afraid the Obama administration has turned up the heat, seems to be, at this point, almost obsessed with bashing Israel. We had the Ayatollah Khomeini over the weekend leading a chant of death to America. The president didn't say a word. We had an ISIS affiliate publish the names of 100 U.S. servicemen and urge people here in the United States that sympathize with ISIS to kill these heroic young men and women in the American military. Not a word from the White House. But the president several times over the weekend kicked Netanyahu again, criticized Israel again. I feel like we're living in just a nightmare, a bad dream, Kirby, and I keep waiting to wake up, and I'm afraid it's not going to happen anytime soon.
One other thing we do at Point of View is we have a Take Action section. If you go to it right now, you can see that we provided the list of those individuals that decided not to listen to Benjamin Netanyahu. If you go to another one of our action items, we encouraged you earlier to actually contact your two senators and representatives to go. The most recent one, of course, was contacting the Navy about this Navy chaplain that we talked about with Kelly Shackelford on Friday. So, Brad, one of the other things we do is not only do we educate you, but we give you information that you can activate and do and really make an impact. So when you give to Point of View, you're not just giving to the radio program or the media ministry, but even giving you a chance to be involved. And again, pointofview.net/team. And Gary, just before I go, I thought I might get your comments about that because you have been in Washington, D.C., and as you point out, if you want a friend in Washington, D.C., really need to get a dog because that's about, that's the old Harry Truman line. But you have seen what happens when we've told people to, in the old days, call or now send an email. We can sometimes do a pretty good job of getting the attention of some of those people inside the Beltway.
Oh, it's been amazing, Kirby. I have literally been walking the halls of Congress on days when you guys have gone on the air to sound the alert about something. And I've seen all the right people on Capitol Hill with furrowed brows and little balls of sweat on their forehead when all of a sudden the phones are ringing and the worst thing possible has happened. That is, the constituents of these members of Congress have suddenly caught on to something that's being pulled in Washington because you all sounded the alarm Paul Revere-like, and it's been a pleasure to watch that happen. There's nothing like the look of a worried congressman's face to encourage the average American.
Well, again, one of the things we always encourage people to do is go to your website. We have a link there, ouramericanvalues.org. The end-of-day report is there. You can read the most recent one. You have a video that people can watch, which, again, just cracks me up. Brad, you will laugh your head off when you see this video. They go to George Washington University and ask the students who George Washington is.
No.
I would think Gary made it up, except I know he's got the integrity to know that this is not a joke, but it's a sad commentary, Gary. So all of it's at your website, and we always value your friendship. And thank you for joining us today here on Point of View.
Great to be with you. Keep up the fantastic work. I'm proud to have been associated with you over the years, and I'm looking forward to many more years in the trenches with you as we try to save this great country and make it a shining city upon a hill.
Thank you very much. Just before we go to a break, Brad, we still are encouraging people to join with us and be part of the Truth Team 360.
Well, what's fun about this is we're actually illustrating why you should give. Partnerships. we're talking about Gary Bauer. We're talking about the newsmakers. We're talking about the people that have their eyes and their ears in all these places. And your gift to Point of View, as you said earlier, it's not just the media ministry. It's not just the radio program. It's the resources. It's the tools you need to live and walk that Christian walk that we've all been called to walk. And you can help us by financially supporting us. pointofview.net/team. That's pointofview.net /team. You can also call us on our pledge line, 1-800-347-5151. That's toll free, 800-347-5151. Could we hear from 5 of you in the next 5 minutes? 5 callers in 5 minutes. We'll be counting.
Well, certainly we encourage you to visit the website, and that is a way that you can find out a little bit more about the 2 guests we had today, Noel Bouché and Gary Bauer. When I come back, I'll talk about some of the guests we're going to have this week. It's a star-studded cast of individuals, and I think you're going to enjoy that. But we also encourage you to do what you can to support this ministry. Pointofview.net/team. We'll be right back.
Point of View, Truth Team 360. Leslie Unruh.
I believe I see results. I think it's important to see fruit with ministries, and there is great fruit with Point of View. And I can point to so many instances over the last 2 to 3 years that Point of View, without them being there, listeners would not have known what's going on, but I think it's really important that it really moves people to act. So many times I've heard you exhort and stand up and speak about something, and it's moved me to action, and I think that's important, to move people to action. And that's what Point of View does.
Point of View. Truth Team 360.
Leslie Unruh, pro-life, pro-family advocate, and a good example of why we do what we do.
Yep.
Brad, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute, the threat to families and what is happening there, but also she is emphasizing the action item. She and Gary Bauer, two individuals that have said, I've seen what happens when you tell people to call.
That's right.
Or to put an email blast out. She's worked more at the state level, Gary Bauer at the federal level, but they both can testify to the fact that when we encourage our listeners to get involved, they get involved. And I've had people sometimes, Brad, say, I never wrote to a member of Congress, but you made it so easy just going on the line to do that. So we've got some great things to talk about. But first of all, give me an update on how many people are joining Truth Team 360.
We asked for 5. We got 5. So I love that. We want to say thanks to Edith checking in from California. She became a member of the Truth Team. Thank you, Kenneth from Kentucky, a single gift. Thank you for that. And Lori from California with a monthly gift. We're so grateful for your help with us. Eva from South Carolina, and again, a single gift. Thank you for that. And here's another Truth Team member, Wanda from Texas, checking in. So it's fun. I love it. From around the country, you are responding, and thank you. Don't stop now, by the way. The phone number to call to be a part of this, join the Truth Team. We'll explain that in a minute. 800-347-5151. That's 800-347-5151.
You know, you can be a partner right now. Join up with the Truth Team, and that's what Carol did.
I just wanted to tell you, too, how much I have appreciated Point of View over the years, and it has caused me over time to call my representatives and take action that I would never have had the knowledge to do before. I've always been taught that we take care of our own, and I feel like Point of View is one of our own because of the Christian worldview that you do promote. And so I have become a partner today, and I just want to thank you so much, and just God bless you for all that you do.
And there's an obvious application of an individual that decided to take action.
That's
so
right.
Good illustration of that.
Thank you.
Brad, let's talk about this for a minute, because one of the things that I know Gary Bauer and we just heard from Leslie Unruh concerned about is what happens to our kids, what happens to our grandkids. Now, I don't have any grandkids, but you've kind of compensated for me. How many you have now?
19 with 2 on the way. So we had a large family, so that's the way the math works out. And just spent the weekend, 4 of them are staying the week at our house while their parents are off celebrating their 10th anniversary.
That's amazing.
And so just hanging out with my grandchildren, and I can't help when I look at them and I look them in the eye and I just pray. I say, Lord, what kind of a future do they have?
Yeah.
What do they have to look forward to? And I think the gender garbage is going on, and the marriage is a sacred thing and being redefined and repurposed. Craziness. So I go back to my base. The base is the Bible. The base is the Lord Jesus Christ. I've read the end of the book. We win.
Mm-hmm. We win.
We win. So we know that. But it's you standing with us. It is so important. It's so critical. If I may use the word strategic right now, to stand with us, go to pointofview.net/team. Go to pointofview.net. Look at the resources we've been talking about. Look at that website, maybe like you've never looked at it before.
And again, we've got all sorts of resources on the website today. We got my Viewpoints commentary. And when you support Point of View, you're supporting my commentary, which is heard not only on the stations that carry this program, but many other networks are very nice to carry that 2-minute commentary. That's right. So that's a secondary way that some of the ideas of Point of View end up in other radio programs. We have our Take Action section. Boy, we've been talking about this the last half hour. Gary Bauer's talked about it. Leslie Unruh's talked about it. Carol's talked about it as well. We have the video, the uncensored video, and much more. But also on that page, you will see Truth Team 360. You can click on that button that says Join the Team, and you can see the various benefits that come from that, one of which is we want to send you a welcome gift, either a tote bag or a sport bag.
These are high-quality items, by the way. This is not just a little giveaway you get at a convention. Nothing like that at all.
Yeah.
This is a heavy-duty canvas tote bag, zipper, inside pockets. The sports bag has a lot of pockets on it. I think there's a hole in the side of it for dirty gym socks.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what that must be for.
Smelly gym socks. That's all I could guess.
Yeah.
But seriously, if you go to the website, you'll be able to see what we're talking about. And it's just just a welcome gift because this is a permanent team we're setting up, Kirby.
Yes.
This is something that's going to be ongoing for the ministry because we're trying to build a financial foundation to be able to do what we do continually, but also do it better, do more of it.
So again, we want to encourage you to join with us, pointofview.net/team, but also want to encourage you, if you would like to call, 1-800-347-5151. We have some volunteers right now.
800-347-5151.
Let's also hear from Christy because she's been listening for some time.
I've been listening for about 26 years. I just wanted to say that y'all have helped me a lot because you've given opportunity to call our congressman and make phone calls, write letters and all, and I appreciate the website that we can get on and sign petitions and things like that, and I feel like it makes a big difference. I signed up yesterday to be a supporter, and I think it's well worth it.
Again, we're trying to educate you and encourage you, but also empower you.
That's
and
right.
I didn't set this up exactly, but it turned out very well that every single person here has
That's
talked
right.
about the action items, and we have all sorts of take action items.
Yep.
Just Friday, for example, Brad, we were talking about this Navy chaplain who expressed his faith, which is what you would expect a chaplain to do.
I'm thinking so, yeah.
You know,
okay.
He's a chaplain
Makes
for the
sense.
SEAL Team 60, but instead, now they're wanting to kind of drum him out of the Corps, and so we've given you an action item by which you can support that individual. And each day we try to find something that you can either listen to or take action on, and that's why we really want you to be one of the Truth Team 360.
I got a guarantee. I'm going to make you 100% ironclad guarantee. I'm talking to every listener right now. Here's the guarantee. If you invest financially in Point of View, maybe for the very first time, you will never listen to us quite the same way again. You'll hear us differently, and here's why. Because you become a stakeholder.
Yes.
You become an investor. You've invested your hard-earned dollars in seeing this ministry to continue. That's the guarantee. You'll never really listen to us quite, because you're going to be part owner.
Yes.
Of the broadcast. That's another way of looking at it.
Stake owner.
So I really invite you to make that pledge. Pray about it, of course, see what the Lord would have you do, but then be generous when you call 1-800-347-5151. That's 800-347-5151. 5151, and on the web you can catch us as well.
Yes, again, pointofview.net/team. Let me just, before we run out of time, mention that tomorrow we're going to have Michael Ferris with us.
Excellent.
And really talking about some of these constitutional issues. Of course, he's also been a champion of the homeschool movement. And then John Stone Street, somebody I met decades ago when he was a student coming out of a school that is in Tennessee, that many of you may know, Bryan College. And now, of course, he is the voice on Breakpoint along with Eric Metaxas, and is a good friend, and we're going to talk about his Restoring All Things book as well as some other resources. But just before we go, we want to challenge some of you that even though we're going off the air, that doesn't mean that we will no longer answer the phone.
No, the phones will be covered.
The phones will be covered, and so please take the time. If you've been listening and say, I don't want to miss anything. I know that happens, Brad, sometimes.
It does.
I've had people say, I won't call during the show because I don't want to miss something that's happening.
That's right.
As we go off the air, this is a time for you to give us a call. Then 1-800-347-5151, and of course, pointofview.net/team, and we'll be back here tomorrow to give them an update on what happened after we went off the air.
We will do that, but again, the website's never closed, open 24/7. That's pointofview.net/team.
Wish we had more time, but we will cover some more tomorrow. Again, Michael Ferris, John Stone Street. Want to thank Andrew and Catherine and Chris for the help behind the scenes. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
We need you in Truth Team 360. This is the week. Today is the day. Please stop whatever you're doing right now and stand with us. Join us for $1 a day, $30, a minute a month, $65, or step up as a Century partner with $100 each month. We have a special page set up for you. Visit pointofview.net. On the right side, maybe you'll scroll down just a bit, look for the Truth Team 360 graphic. Click on that, and then click next to $30, $65, or $100, and choose your gift from the drop-down list. We will set things up to receive your donation each month. It could not be easier. If you want to give all at once, look on the right side above the tote bag picture. We have a special button for that annual partnership gift. Join Truth Team 360. pointofview.net. By phone, you can give at 1-800-347-5151 or mail that first donation to Point of View, Box 30, Dallas, Texas 75221. Point of View is produced by Point of View Ministries.